Hello, welcome to the Midweek Meditation. I'm Reverend Bob Zanicki, the pastor of the First Presbyterian Church in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Today is Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. Almost through the first month already. It's just flying by. Well, yesterday we had just a dusting here of snow in Wilkes-Barre, in the city. And from my understanding, some of the higher level areas got a bit more. But we're doing well here, and the roads seem to be pretty clear, and I hope all is well with you. I hope you're keeping warm as the temperature has dropped. Well, this past Sunday, our worship service focused on the theme of trust. I titled my sermon, "In God We Trust." And of course, we're all familiar with that phrase because it's on our currency. It has been on our currency for some time. In fact, it actually predates the Cold War era. Whenever it went on the money, it was even there earlier in our history, and I mentioned a little bit about that in the sermon. But the theme again was trust, and it sure seems that we are in certainly need of trust. We're going through a difficult time in our nation, and of course with the coronavirus on top of it, not only our nation but our world, although thank God we are so grateful for all those who have done such stellar work, such wondrous work in terms of developing vaccines. And I know I've talked to several of you, and you are already signed up to get your vaccine, and I'm working on that myself. And I know many, many others are also. But trust. We need trust in order to live as civilized human beings. We've decided that over the aeons of time that humanity has existed. There's much that has been studied and realized about the necessity of trust in the life of a community. In terms of fact, you really couldn't call something a community without trust. So much of this we take for granted, but as we reflect on it, we come more and more to realize the importance, how important trust is, just in terms of understanding, well, this is going to take place, or that's going to take place, or I don't have to worry about X, Y, or Z, because there's a trust for the community that one participates in. And I've been reading some John Locke recently, and rereading some, and then reading some parts that I hadn't read before. And of course, Locke had a lot to say about what society should look like, and our founding fathers relied on him. He was a primary source. And of course, the idea of trust came into play. It still does. It always will. So, in any event, I just thinking about that, because it has been on my mind and concerned, as we all are, about how we are moving along as a nation that includes culture and, again, the society that we live in. So on Sunday, we read responsively from Proverbs chapter 3, verses 1 through 10. And I thought I would read those again to you. And listen as I read. Think in terms of, okay, well, this was written a few thousand years ago, but does it really sound all that foreign in specifics? So here we go. My child, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life, the abundant welfare will they give you. Let not loyalty and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them about your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. So you will find favor and good repute in the sight of God and humanity. I love this verse. I memorized it with a different translation. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight. And in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, respect the Lord. Give homage to the Lord, and turn away from evil, from that which is bad. It will be healing for your flesh, your body, and refreshment to your bones. Honor the Lord with your substance and with the first fruits of your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. Wonderful. The translation that I memorized many years back as a youth, I believe it was the King James Version. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways lean on him, and God will direct your paths. I say this sincerely, many years behind me now, okay? But that has been one of those scriptures that has just continuously spoken to me, because again, when one says, when you hear this contextually, the Lord, God, there's a specificity to that. It's not just any number of gods that have been placed out for humans to consider, because there have been many, many, many of them, and there still remain such. But trust in this God that is to be trustworthy, is trustworthy, and gives us a way to look at life and to live our lives. And we in turn understand that we need to trust one another if we are going to live in peace, with solidarity, with a certain camaraderie that whether you're close friends or not, just the people that you inhabit with, that there are certain values that they value, and we have a contract, okay, a covenant that's just, it's presupposed, at least it has been presupposed, but some of that, perhaps too much of it, is coming into question in terms of that contract of trust that we have had for so long. Always needing adjustments, changing this and that and the other thing, but the foundation has been there. And we are in a difficult time right now. So during the middle of the week here, keeping warm, if you happen to be listening to this, consider your trust in God, that God is with you forever, no doubt about it, even though we have rough times. But also that there's a trust that we are to emulate from this God. And it's pretty clear that we are to love one another, care for one another, protect one another, care for one another. The great golden rule. And there's so much of it here, just all combined in this idea that we trust in God. So hopefully we will hear that more and more, that this is God telling us, calling us through our scriptures, through our tradition, perhaps through our own hearts and minds, that we are to work on this trust and do what we can in terms of being trustworthy. Don't have to always agree. It doesn't normally happen anyhow. But we can not be disagreeable as a people, and we can continue to trust one another as we follow and emulate this God in whom we trust. Well, God bless you. I hope you'll join with us in worship this coming Sunday morning. I am going to talk about the prophet Samuel when he was just a youngster, a young person, about when God calls him and Samuel has a little trouble hearing, understanding what's going on. but he does finally hear what God is calling him to become. And also that this coming Sunday, we have our beloved friend, Pastor Moses, will be with us with that fabulous, tremendous voice. And he's going to sing a Hebrew song, Shema Kolenu. Translation, hear our voice, O God. Hear our voice, O God. So we're going to consider in word and song about hearing the voice of God and following the voice of God in our lives. Well, God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.